I'm Eunice Youmans. I'm the Executive Director of the Chelan-Douglas Land Trust. So my path is really different than my predecessors. So I actually came through a climate change think tank where I worked with scientists who were doing primary research all over the world and making recommendations on a global and domestic level about how to manage different competing priorities for land. So we need to have space for agriculture, we need to have space for housing, for livelihoods, for conservation, and all that kind of thing. And so I was doing that, and a land trust in Massachusetts approached me to take on the portfolio on Martha's Vineyard in Nantucket. And they were interested in me because they wanted me to sort of take all of these big scientific recommendations on a global scale and apply them on this little island. So I had all of these competing priorities, right? I had a farm, I had a camp, I had 37 miles of recreational beach property, I had trails, I had a museum, I had all kinds of stuff. So just balancing all those things out. So in about the 80s, I think islanders, or late 70s, the islanders realized that most of our shoreline was privately owned. So I think 85% of the shoreline is privately owned. So it created a movement to say we need to protect this land so that we all have access to it, not just the few elites that are here a fraction of the year. So as time evolved, we began looking at how to protect for recreational access, then it was how to protect for conservation, so different species, management, and that kind of thing. And then it expanded out to include farmland, because actually the island is known for farms. It's kind of our sort of agrarian history is part of our charm, and certainly the allure, part of the allure. And so kind of thinking about how we were going to conserve farmland and doing that at scale. And then, over the course of the last 5 years, the latest pressure is affordable housing, right? We have this, this amazing island, lots of tourists come to visit, but we don't have places for regular people to live, and so trying to address those issues. And I would say all those things are very much at play here. As a conservationist, I'm not anti-development. We have to have a place for people. If we're not taking care of people, we can't take care of anything else. So the way we did it on the island is very similar to here, is that we are a small community. This is a small community. Everyone's coming together to talk about all of these challenges and looking at how we can work with each other to find space for all these things. I did not grow up camping and hiking or anything like that. It was not part of my childhood. It was hotels and, going to the beach, and that was pretty much the extent of it. And when I had children, I have 3 children, I stayed at home with them for almost 5 years. And during that time, we were living on one income. We had no money. And so I started really kind of doing all kinds of outdoor things that I hadn't done before, just because, I was limited in what we could do. And I realized how much I loved it, and how much joy it brought me, and how much meaning it brought into my life to share, all of these outdoor experiences with my children. And so that's, it's a kind of a religion, I guess, kind of the experience of being in nature and being a part of it. I think that the two things are very much connected. So I've been to most of our sort of recreational access properties. I'd say my favorite so far is Spiva Butte, which is in Douglas County. I think we have 30-something acres out there, and it's just wild, empty, rolling shrubland, and it's just gorgeous. I think as a new ED coming in, you don't ever want to do anything new right off the bat. You want to take your time and learn and understand things. So I'd say that that's my primary focus, is sort of really kind of understanding the work that we do and the opportunities here. So we're kind of moving into a planning process in January to really identify key strategic goals that will inform our conservation priorities, inform the work ahead. So I'd say for now, nothing big or new on the horizon, but lots of internal thinking and looking at our systems. So one thing, my predecessor grew this organization exponentially. I'm inheriting a much more complicated organization in terms of the complexity of the land portfolio that we manage, as well as the financial, all the different financial mechanisms that we use to do our work. So I think my first job is to really make sure that we have the architecture set up for the next phase of growth. So we want everybody to be out on our properties, right? So I think that's one of the challenges that we're facing, is how to be more welcoming to everyone in our community. So we want you. Whoever you are, we want you. We want you to be on our land and enjoying it along with us. So we have events all the time to volunteer, and moving into next year, we're going to have a pretty robust outreach strategy designed to, educate people about different things or provide opportunities to experience our land in different ways. And I say our land, and I mean our land. This land has been conserved because of the people of this community, right? So it's everybody's land.